6. This is in sunny Philadelphia, but not a live look. Now you're getting a live look. That beautiful scenery you saw at first is not exactly how it is right now. It was a little bit overcast. But we are in Philly on a night where there is a Phillies home game, a Flyers home game, and a Surge home game. So top teams all playing the same time in the same place right near each other. I am joined by Caroline Weinberg, former Surge player and now broadcast expert.
Hey everyone, it's exciting to be here with you on this cloudy but warm spring day as the teams are getting announced. I don't know if you introduced yourself, Dre.
Good call. I'm Andrea DeSabato.
And yeah, it's been a really great evening watching these teams warm up, and here's how the season stands right now. Surge is 3-0 with a really strong start to the season, and tonight they're matching up against the Milwaukee Monarchs, who won their first game and lost the second. Both have been tight games, and they're playing a doubleheader weekend where, go ahead.
It's always a tight race. There's only 10 teams in the league now. There was 12, there was 11 once, now we're down to 10. So the top two make it from each the North and the South division. So as you can tell, it's really tight there for like the second through whatever place. So yeah, all the games matter, especially when there's only 10 teams in the league.
Yeah, and the games especially matter for the Monarchs this weekend. They're playing a third of their season in these two games against really strong teams, and tonight it's against the Philadelphia Surge.
You've played some Pro Ultimate, these back-to-back travel games. What do you think that does to certain players or to a season when you have to kind of prep both? Is it good to have, okay, we're in game mode for a whole weekend, or is it really tough with travel logistics?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, I think most of these players are used to playing a club schedule also, which oftentimes you're traveling, flying, and then you're playing 6, sometimes 7 games. So the PUL is certainly less intensive on the body in that way. But travel takes it out of you, especially when you're working a full work week. I think the Monarch players had to get up super early this morning to get to the airport and get here. So, you know, I think they're used to it, but it's still really difficult.
Yeah, one of those things that if it is your job to be a pro athlete, you're ready for that. If not, a PUL, not totally there yet, but yeah, we're trying to get to that point, and I think people are getting a little bit used to it. It's nice that it is only one short game each day.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about the season so far. As I said, the Monarchs have had a win and a loss. They defeated Indiana in week 2, and then they lost to Minnesota Strike in week 4. I think that both games have been close, and they were really excited about that first win against Indiana, and the Strike loss was difficult for them, and the coaches seem to have learned some lessons and are excited to apply that this weekend. And as Dre was saying before, they're tied for second place right now, and that second place is really the threshold to get you into the playoffs.
You can see a lot of players shedding some layers. So there was a little bit of rain. There was some in the forecast, but it's actually clear at the moment. We'll head over to Surge now. There's some players that have been, okay, it's actually warm and not pouring. Not too bad.
So how has the Surge season been going? Where they started off 3-0, second year in a row that's happened, which is really great to get that momentum at the beginning of the season. Definitely looking to get a home win tonight. And then the rest of their season is 2 different games against the New York Gridlock. So it's exciting. Definitely looking to go get 4-0 tonight, whereas the Monarchs are hoping to get to 2-1 and solidify their spot in second place in this division.
Yeah, a really unique schedule this year because some teams have dropped from the league. There is a now to get to 6 games, which is the PUL format. you have to play a team twice. So every team is playing a team twice. Shadow is playing Radiance twice. Surge is playing New York twice. And that's how you're going to get to 6 games. So I think Surge is really up for the challenge of playing New York, former champion, back-to-back games, one on our turf, one on theirs. And it's a great way to end the season, but definitely a little bit more pressure and edge than some of the past seasons.
Yeah, for sure. And I've just got to imagine that for the Monarchs and for any of the, Midwest teams that travel for their doubleheader East Coast weekend, that's a lot of pressure and a big opportunity to, if they can punch in a win or, 2 wins against Philadelphia and New York, that totally changes the standings.
Surge will be starting on offense. Don't know exactly the outcome of the flip, but it is similar to a coin toss. It is a disc flip up and down, and then the winner will choose to receive. They will switch each quarter who starts on O and D, and right now the Surge is starting on O with the Monarchs pulling.
So maybe we didn't say it already, but you can kind of see it on your screen. Monarchs are in white, Surge is in blue. New jerseys for Surge this year. The blue is fun.
The blue is fun. Shout out Jake Patrica, who is our graphic designer, helped us with some of these, and the Breakmark, who sponsors us. But yeah, Jake wanted to mix it up a little this year. We've had the black and white and kind of pretty tame. I think he wanted to say, we want something different this year. It is a new team, so with the new team comes new design. We talked about this a little bit last week, but Surge has some brand new players, a lot of young players, a good amount of turnover. Monarchs have had a pretty similar roster for the last couple years.
And we're off. Very exciting. First pull is up.
Pull by number 25, Vermach. Centering the disc, Surge to Sarah Liang.
Wow, Monarchs were putting on some defensive pressure and just a misconnection there. So Monarchs will have an opportunity to get a really early break in this game.
That's a tough one. It's right in your chest. Maybe it's a little bit of nerves. Maybe it's a little bit of a lack of focus. First throw of the game, first catch of the game. Just kind of bounces off. It's not wet out there, so I don't think it's a wet draw.
No, I don't think so. Monarchs in their warm-up were really looking to get the disc to the break side of the field a lot. We saw them just throw that around. Seems like there was a pick call.
Number 23, muting with the disc. Looks to switch the field. Another drop through the hands.
Now Surge will have a chance to just get that hold that they were looking for. First point.
Maroon looking downfield. Finds McKenna, who hits K-Spa to get on the board. So it's a dirty hold, they call it. One drop each. They hopefully got that out of their system.
Yeah, the ideas were all right, trying to hit the right spots. Just maybe some early game nerves. And as you said, the conditions have been changing, so who knows how much that might impact it.
We'll get another look at this here. That's the first drop. Really tight pressure. Monarchs are right on the back. And then this one's similar when Monarchs was able to turn it. Same thing, right on their back pressure. This is really nice motion here from Surge, just hitting the upfield, not having to go back to a reset. Cutters finding space, and pretty on time. We'll get our first look at the Surge D-line this game. Emily Moeller will pull the disc.
And first look at the Monarchs O-line. So we'll see what they have to offer.
Erin Schrader picking up the disc.
Looks like they're setting up in a horizontal stack across the field, which is fun to see. I feel like at a high level like this, often teams are opting to stay in a vertical stack.
Shriver with the disc. Hits.
Oh, Annie got out of that pressure, but there seems to be a stall call.
A stall call is a call you can go to the observer for. You can talk about it amongst yourself first, but the observers are here and supposed to be counting that, so you can go to them and see. And it looks like they did go to the observer in this case, and the observer ruled it was a stall. So that's going to be a turnover on the sideline there.
And both of these first 2 points, there have been break chances. So we'll see if Surge can do what Milwaukee could not.
Great break there from Alvi to Semper, who finds Moeller in the center of the field. Cashiap in the middle of the field again. Back to Alvi. Who finds Costanza.
Surge was moving it from the front of the sack near the end zone there, and that was a really great grab by Costanza under pressure.
Zoe Costanza, a new player on the Surge this year, local Haverford College graduate.
Let's look at that goal again.
Just attacks the shoulder of Schrader there and able to get them on their heels a little bit before they take that little edge towards the end zone.
Yeah, and someone had peeled off the back to be help D, but Zoe did a good job going right to the disc so that help D couldn't get in the mix and make a play.
Looks like the Monarchs are running back almost the same exact line. Sometimes you'll see that, sometimes they'll put in a D line, but that was kind of a short point, so we're going to get a look at the O-line again, and another Emily Moeller pull. We did switch up some of the Surge D-line. We now added Anna Harnage, Rachel Alfano, and Faye Epstein and Liv Steinberg.
All right, let's see
Schrader
what this
catches the disc.
Let's see what this Monarch offense can do. Again, they're in their host stack.
Fan finds a wide open Duffner. Duffner back to Schrader.
Great grab.
Duffner every other at this point.
Really nice movement down the sideline there. You'll see they're getting now into more of a vertical stack look as they try to attack the end zone. Moving from the front.
Curran with the disc. Good field position in the center to Shriver.
And they'll punch that one in.
Finds Cohen to the cone.
Assist from Annie Shriver, my previous club teammate on the Boston Siege back in the day. It's really great to watch her play at this level. And the Monarchs wanted that one. And they got it. That's the only clean hold we've seen so far, right?
Yeah, the score is 2-1 with 8:37 left in the quarter. The PUL is 4 12-minute quarters.
So Surge got the first two, went up a break. So we'll see if the Monarchs could get a break back here. They're certainly wanting that. And the stands are starting to fill up in front of us, Dre.
Yeah, Surge is usually known for getting a good home crowd. The weather might have scared a few folks off, but yeah, so far a decent crowd showing up.
This is a similar Surge O-line, but not identical.
Cunningham centers to Liang.
Also seeing a host stack look from the Surge with a pull play, isolating Grace Maroon, but she wasn't able to get it. Certainly a poachy defense of sorts from Monarchs here.
Nice break there from Wagner to Conroy. Finds K-Spa in the middle of the field, who's going to unleash it towards McKenna with two defenders, elevates and is able to bring it down.
A good receiver to put that type of thing to.
If you're going to throw it up with someone in double coverage, it probably should be Lindsay McKenna.
All smiles from her. Nice to see. That was a really great grab.
Seems like the Monarchs are running off and leaving someone. They're kind of almost looking to double or clog a lane.
Yeah.
They've done that a couple times and have left a more open player that's
farther away.
It's happened 2 or 3 times, so I'm wondering if they're going to stick to doing that. So far, Surge has been able to find that open player. Normally, I like that from the Monarchs. I like trying to clog a lane, especially close to the disc. It's hard to have vision on where everyone else might be, where the open player is. I wonder if they'll keep doing that throughout the game.
Yeah, it's great to see both teams taking some shots deep. Maybe it's mostly been Surge so far. We'll see if Monarchs can put up some looks like that. This offensive point.
Disc centered to Fan.
Surge coming down in a zone look. But Monarchs moving the disc quickly towards the sideline. They're staying in their zone.
Disc with Fan finds Kern. Over to Duffner.
Monarchs doing a good job of finding some bladey throws to get around this. We often call this kind of like a junky zone. It seems like they're maybe going into person defense now. And that one is just a little out of reach. I generally thought that was great motion in zone offense from the Monarchs. Just got a little bit too excited near the end zone there, I think. I always find that hard when you've worked it in a zone offense and you're being kind of patient and they finally go into person defense. It's hard not to just get really excited and try and throw for the score.
Yeah, they were able to find people with space and got a little excited and maybe a little too excited there. We have an injury sub here. It looks like a cleat issue for the Monarchs. So Fan comes off and Surge also makes a sub, which is a rule. If they take one, you can take one. So Lindsay McKenna replaces Emily Mueller to now have the disc on offense. McKenna finds Thompson to Harnage. Back to McKenna.
Surge is moving the disc quickly. And another big, deep look that will connect to Nina.
Timeout from Cash App called on the goal line. That's 2 away shots successful so far for Surge. They are finding the space. They are not afraid to take it and put it up. And a lot of these people haven't had a ton of help or anything. It seems like the field is really tight in the middle, and there's a lot of space on the away time.
Yeah.
There was no stack in the way. It's kind of like everyone's really close to the disc, which leaves all that open space deep.
Right, and I think it works as a defensive strategy, but maybe most so if you have someone ready to be help D and peel off quickly, and it doesn't seem like Milwaukee has had that in the moments where Surge has put it up.
Interesting substitution there. So on that timeout on the goal line, Surge is electing not to put the disc, the same line that got the disc, the D line, on. They're subbing in the O line to finish it off to get the score here. And I believe Monarchs also subbed in their D line for this goal line stand.
Just one end zone rep here. Let's see if Surge can do it. And they do.
Nice attempt there from the Monarchs, but Liang just able to secure it right in her hands. Monarchs has been really close. They've been very tight to the disc. That's a tough play for Liang to have to make. Liang, a veteran, McKenna trusts her. It's a trust throw into a tight spot, but Monarchs are there. They're right in the play. They're right in the frame. I always say get in the frame. They're doing it.
And let's watch that just one more time. This huge deep shot from Lindsay McKenna. to Nina Kaishep was really nice. And the timeout call, the new line in, Sarah Liang to McKenna, back to Liang, to Maroon, to Liang. And who's going to get it in the end zone but Sarah Liang?
Pull is up from Semper.
A little bit of a short pull there, but seems like Surge was wanting to get the disc on the sideline, which they did do. Milwaukee able to get the disc back to the middle of the field off of that sideline trap. Getting it to Annie Shriver. Floaty, dangerous throw to Kern. And a nice grab there to secure the easy, not many throws hold to number 23 Muting. Monarchs wanted that one. Yeah, as you said, they've been really close here. I think the score doesn't exactly reflect. Surge has been able to punch in some nice breaks, but Monarchs have been close. And now it's 4-2, so they're definitely, Monarchs are doing what they need to do to stay in this game.
The Discraft Ultrastar is the official disc of the Premier Ultimate League. Discraft, the world leader in disc sports.
Sun's starting to poke out just a little bit. Not sure if you can exactly tell on the broadcast, but the fans seem warm, and the players seem warmer. I wonder what Monarchs are going to do on defense here. You're obviously looking to get one of these two breaks back. And a nice pull.
Milligan receives the pull to Liang.
Surge was starting in a side stack there, all the way on the sideline. Didn't seem to go exactly as planned. But now in more of a centered vertical stack look.
Give go there for McKenna. Over to Hiranet. Back to McKenna. A little bit of space, a nice touch and edge there from Hiranet. McKenna able to accelerate onto it. Really hard to defend that on the up line when it's so close to the line.
Yeah, that was an amazing throw. Talked to the Monarchs coaches at the beginning of this game, and Sarah Hiranet was one that they were planning specific matchups for. She is a great receiver for the Surge, and we just saw her amazing assisting abilities too. Let's watch that again. That was such a nice, touchy throw.
4-year veteran of Surge, has been always known as a really good receiver, but I've personally seen her working on her throws. Her breaks have improved, like her throwing. She's becoming much more comfortable, and I love when she's able to assist it as well.
And this has turned into a pretty clean game. Our first point, there were 2 turnovers, but since then, I don't think there's been more than 1 turnover in any of the points, and several clean holds. So let's see if the Monarchs can do that again and get a clean hold here. Seems like Surge is trying lots of different things on defense, but opting for just a person-to-person defense here. Monarchs getting it to
Cohen
the middle
with the
of the field.
disc, finds Shriver. Finds Schrader. Aaron Schrader, a really important piece of this Monarchs team. Schrader having lots of USA accolades, tons of good club accolades. Very important handler, thrower for this group. Over to Kern. Finds Fan.
Liked that cut from Schrader, but a little bit risky. So they opt to keep working it through the backfield. Now with Annie Shriver. Breaking the mark. Back to Kern. It can be hard to stay patient in these situations, but Monarchs are really trying to just work their end zone set, working through the same people.
Bit of a high stall choice there, it seems. Tried to just get it to the back of the end zone. Possibly a call on the mark, though. It seemed like a high.
Seems like maybe a timeout was effectively called before the throw.
Believe the Monarchs called that?
Yes.
That's one of those where the coaches can impact the game.
Right.
Coaches calling a timeout can switch the field, can read a situation and say, this looks a little dicey, doesn't look super great. How do we make this happen? And you can impact it from the sideline there.
Yeah, I think I saw one of the Monarchs coaches do a little fist pump that she had gotten the call in on time. I think it's a really important way, as you said, that this can affect the game and is really distinct from other leagues of Ultimate. I can't quite tell if there were substitutions. Can you, Dre?
Maybe one or two. I don't think it was a full line change.
High throw, but Kern was able to get that down. Back to Schrader. Oh. Turnover there from the Monarchs. That's hard. They were really working it in their end zone set for a while, really hoping to punch that one in for a long but clean hold. And here's Surge, off to the races.
Semper wheeling and dealing in the backfield, finds Epstein up to Steinberg.
Monarchs O-line just playing in a person defense. Almost got the tip there.
Cohen, I think, had a piece of that. Just ended up being enough to make it an easier catch, actually, for Serge to grab that.
It's always frustrating when that happens.
Maroon with the disc, under some pressure in the center of the field. Give and go from Maroon, finds Costanza.
Surge is playing a clean game right now.
That's the score from their D-line, a D-line 0 point. So the coaches in the league could choose to, hey, call a timeout. We want to put in our O-line so they can score. I like leaving the D-line. They need to be able to score too, because if you run out of timeouts, you don't have a choice. So each team with one timeout left in this half, maybe saving it for the second quarter. It's a pretty high-scoring first quarter. The clock usually has not had to stop this much for so many goals. So the 6-2, 8 goals in the half has actually stopped the clock quite a few times so far.
We'll see another D-line from Surge here. Pretty similar to the other ones we've seen so far this game. Great pull from Emily Muller.
A bit of a different O-line for Monarchs here. I don't see Fan or Schrader. I wonder if they're trying something a little bit different.
And a great block interception from Emily Muller. Unfortunately, Alvey can't quite connect to the streaking deep Muller on that one. So Monarchs will get another shot at this. Surge continuing to be in their zone look that I do think Monarchs have been effective at breaking down. Moving the disc really quickly.
They seem to have snapped a person at this point. They're doing it a little bit after a couple of passes, it seems.
Yeah, you're right. Definitely just in person-to-person defense now. Ooh. Exciting almost block there, but Monarchs number 12, French, able to come down with that grab. That was not easy.
Another open cutter for the Monarchs, not able to connect and to hit the window that the receiver's able to make.
They've had a couple now in that back corner of the end zone, not being friendly to the Monarchs. They're just overshooting it a little.
Heyman makes a nice grab in the air, puts it up to Thompson. 2 new players on Surge this season.
And a run through D by Monarchs.
Moeller giving it right back under tight coverage.
Hammer look. Can't connect. Okay, so this is our dirtiest point so far, for sure.
Also, a clock rule clarification. So you do see 0 on the clock, but they play out every possession. So that turnover happened before the clock hit 0, which means Surge has unlimited time to score right now. New in the PUL this year, there were buzzer beaters. So you would play the quarters 1 through 3 was always a play it out, and then 4 was a buzzer beater. This time, every quarter is you play it out. So the clock strikes 0, nothing can happen. What do you think about that as someone who played with using the clock as a buzzer beater, having those scenarios? How is it for the players, the fans? I want to hear your take on this. I voted against it personally, so I will just come out and say I wanted to use the clock. I thought there was a reason to have buzzer beaters, but I would love someone else's opinion because I didn't win the vote, so I'm curious.
Yeah, I'll give my take. First, I want to just give flowers to number 20, Lang. That was a great body defense, defensive play to a good receiver. So kudos to Monarchs not letting Surge get one last one before the quarter. Well, my take about the buzzer beater is that somehow Surge was so good at it. And so it was very fun because I feel like for whatever reason we were better at scoring when the clock was like timing down.
We've got a lot of height, people that can jump. Yeah, that certainly helps.
So it was really fun for the crowd. I think if I had to vote on it, it did seem kind of like random to me. And this seems a little more like just have all the quarters be the same. I think the possession-based play makes sense.
One of the reasons the league wanted to do it was because of injury prevention, making the quarters unified, all of those things came up. I just think that there is a world where you have a clock, use it.
Our observers,
we will take a break and we will be right back. This live broadcast of the Premier Ultimate League is brought to you by Breakmark Ultimate Apparel. Go to breakmark.com to place your next custom team order or check out the PUL Athlete Collab shops.
I like the jerseys this year. As I said at the outset, I'm liking the blue for the Surge rather than the black look that we'd been rocking in past years. And I feel like the Breakmark shops this year have a lot of different options. Like you can get all different sorts of things, like a bandana, things like that.
Yeah, they mix it up every year. So Breakmark helped us with a sponsorship program. This was the first year you could add certain things to it. You could add a hat, a bag of some kind. There was different. It's been just jerseys every year, but there was a create your own bundle this year, which when the league has done the same thing for a couple years, it was nice of Breakmark to kind of mix it up and have it.
And just like that, we're getting into the second quarter here. Another huge pull from Emily Moeller. I do think it's underrated as a skill how much having a great puller on your team makes a difference.
Yeah, just pushing a team back is so useful, being able to make them play you the whole field instead of getting it around half field or 3/4 of the field. Make them play every inch of it. We do see a regular O-line back on here with Schrader and Fan and Duffner, some of the typical players we've seen. The O-line last time was a little bit unique. Schrader getting the disc in the middle of the field where they can be most dangerous with the whole field to throw to.
Glinka now on the goal line, able to connect. And that was a really clean and quick Monarchs hold. Number 19, Cohen with the score there. I think they're going to be happy about that one.
They're exposing a little bit of the surge junk on the initial pull play and able to find open people really quickly that are getting them yards down the field.
Yeah, I think they've had some really nice inside throws.
He wants everybody to know that the Flyers are winning. Two professional Philadelphia sports teams with the lead.
Just a replay of that score.
A couple.
Yeah, I've been impressed by the Monarchs' inside throws, breaking through that zone. I feel like they're seeing spaces that I'm not able to see from up here, and hitting cutters 10, 20 yards down the field sometimes.
With no conditions, no wind, no rain. Still cool to try junk. I just don't know how long they would keep that up with. Sort of the tight person seems to be working out.
Right.
Maybe they also just want to get some of these work on these defenses, but so far they've been able to get more yards that way.
They have transitioned well into person, I think. All right, and we've got no point for Surge. I do think Monarchs have largely been, well, they're calling fire, so they probably were in some sort of zone. But it's been kind of more poachy. They've certainly always had person-to-person coverage on some people, even when they're in the zone. But now I think they are fully person-to-person, totally downfield.
Cunningham finds Hiranet and finds K-Spa. Over to Maroon. Surge has had success in that corner where Monarchs have not.
Yeah.
That might be some home field advantage. Might be just playing here a couple times, but yeah, finding the open spot in that top corner of the end zone.
And this is mostly the field the Surge is practicing on this season, is that right?
They've been, a little scattered. We've had our first game that was not here. We're back to this site, but over the years, most practices and games have been here.
And Grace Maroon just so good at working in those small spaces at the front of the stack. She does not need very much separation to reel in the score.
Gina Weary of Remax Ready Realty in Conshohocken is proud to be our featured title sponsor for the 4th consecutive year and the Surge 2026 season. The Remax Conshohocken office was recently recognized as the #1 Remax office in the country for 2025. Gina is an expert realtor helping home buyers and sellers achieve their goals since 2006. She serves clients in the Montgomery, Philadelphia, and surrounding counties. Gina is also a longtime Ultimate player and fan, starting her own Ultimate career in 1990. She has won FPSL Summer League 4 times, is a 2-time PATA board member, and her club career highlight was helping take the Philly Peppers to USAU club semifinals in 1996. Gina donates to PATA each time a member of the Ultimate community is a buyer and seller client of hers. Get in touch with Gina at ginaweary.com or find her in the stands tonight.
Surge started in some sort of poachy look, but now is fully in person. Great floaty to Schrader, who is then able to huck it deep to Shriver. That was a nice connection.
Nice away shots there by the Monarchs. I feel like in the first part of this quarter, they were undercuts, finding people under. Now they're like, let's use the field, let's stretch it out, and you can really see that sort of shift, and that's been successful for them. They hit Schrader on a long, really long upline here that she has tons of space to run into, and then that allows for the next longer upline towards the end zone, and Surge is unable to catch up, kind of on their back heels the whole time. It's really important to use that space, and they've switched it up from just kind of going under in the first half.
Good job, Annie. Great score. So we've seen some clean holds from Monarch, but I think they're still chasing their first break. Don't quote us on that.
Write us a letter if we got it wrong.
Yeah.
Do quote us on it. We want to hear about it. If you're keeping track better than we are, we want to hear about it.
Could you come down here for one more second, please?
Nice deep pull.
Milligan catching the pull, which underrated skill. That was a pretty flat one, but love when you catch the pull.
And here is Monarchs decisively in a zone look. It honestly looks kind of similar to Surge's junkie zone, or it did at first. They've kind of got one person on the thrower and two people sagged back behind that one mark. Surge able to figure it out.
Milligan makes a great diving play to save that possession. Now, as Monarchs are transitioning into their person, Surge was able to find a little bit of space, but K-Spot overthrows Hironet there. That's that corner, just as I said it, of course. Now they can't score in that corner.
And I do think there's something that happens when you've gone to playing zone offense to person offense where the timing and shape of cuts is a little different. I think K-Spot was maybe expecting a slightly different shape from Sarah and through to...
Nice tight coverage there. K-Spot runs off her person to try and break up that play. Good no call by Monarchs there. I feel like in a lot of Ultimate, you will see that called as a foul. Maybe it was a little bit distracting that you had a player run in your face, but I really appreciate calls like that where in the moment you can kind of get your head and be like, that wasn't a foul, that was a nice play.
Yeah, K-Spot really able to get it back after the missed throw there. Didn't want that stat for herself, so went and got a block and a score instead. And we just saw again that great catch from Allie Milligan to save possession.
K-Spot able to read it the whole way. Actually might have been there first. Maybe actually a little bit of a foul on the Monarchs there. Bumps K-Spot, who has the spot first, but again, able to absorb the contact and score.
So both teams have been kind of throwing different types of defense. One thing that the Monarchs coaches shared with me before the game was that when they played against Strike their last game, there was kind of a poachy defense that they struggled to figure out. As we've been talking about, I think they've been doing a good job finding the holes, the Surge D. Huge deep look here, but Surge defenders in the space. Emily Muller and Faye Epstein. Hard to tell who came down with that block. That one just a little too high. And Monarchs will have a chance to hold. They've had a couple big floaty deep looks now that haven't gone their way. And here's another. But it does.
Looks like a pick on the play. That's probably coming back unless they contest it. Can also go to the observer on a pick. They are supposed to be monitoring the whole field, so They could discuss it amongst themselves, or the observer should have a ruling. Observers tonight, Ben DeForest and Mike Jarvis. DeForest listening in to the play. It is a contested pick. They will not choose to go to the observer for a ruling.
This will go back to any fan. Milwaukee needs another chance to score.
We'll see if Milwaukee can punch this in again. They've had a couple chances this point. It can be hard when you're this close to the end zone to have to work it, be patient. We're seeing that patience from them here. Trying to find open hands. Great throw.
Another
from
pick
Fan.
called. Coming back again.
Pick call.
Monarchs choosing to stick on this side of the field. Maybe they are adverse to that corner at this point, but haven't chosen to try and go to the other side of the field. Have played in this space. Have had success, have had open people, but have not looked to push to the other side of the field. And it proves successful.
They're able to get that one, which I think they really needed. Still a gap to close here, but 3 points, not too huge a deficit to come back from. I think they've had some gritty points where they're still getting the score after a couple of turnovers, and I think that goes a long way. It can be demoralizing when it just feels like every time you lose the disc, then the other team is going to score. So I think they'll be happy that they've been able to get it back and punch them in.
Nice cut at the front cone there. Able to capitalize. Moeller sort of playing face guarding defense, capping the player, but not on the open side. And then she just takes that open shoulder and able to connect right away.
Yeah, Monarchs don't seem afraid to work in small spaces. I feel like that's why they're doing well in the zone look from the surge. They've struggled a little more in the away shots. And let's see what they'll bring to this defensive point.
A 3-point game now, the closest it's been for a couple minutes, maybe 10-ish minutes or more.
And they're back in that junky zone. A nice blade from Sarah Liang there to get the disc downfield. You'll see the sun coming out now.
Conroy to Cunningham. Over to K-Spa. Laser low throw. Grace Maroon almost able to make that play. Not quite.
Yeah, that had some zip on it, and Grace was willing to fully extend, but not quite enough to make the catch. That was a hard one. See that again here. Really great extension from her, but too difficult of a catch. And Milwaukee with a break chance. They haven't had a ton of them this game. Unfortunately, a turnover in the reset space. So they won't get it on that chance. And let's see if the surge can put it away.
Cunningham a little bit too tight of a window there for Maroon. Maroon kind of stopped to catch that, didn't run fully through it. Defender able to come running through and get that block.
Monarchs are opting for some more kind of creative throws as they're trying to get this break. So kind of a bladey look there, trying to split two defenders, but just a little bit too challenging to thread that needle. This is a point with a lot of turnovers, some of the most we've seen so far. But I do think that these battles in points with a lot of turnovers, you learn a lot about the grit of the teams and who really wants it. They're probably tired out there, so.
This is one of those times where the coach could call a timeout either for either team. That's like 3 turns for Surge, maybe 2 for Monarchs. Maybe we're at 3 apiece now. Coach is letting them play. Again, each have 1 timeout left in this quarter.
And again, opting for the creative throw. And Monarchs will have it right on the doorstep. It's French with the disc. Goes to Redding. And a toe-the-line catch. That will be what Caroline, I personally think, is the Monarchs' first break of the game. It's possible I've lost track. I think French came down with that score, towed the lines to stay in bounds. That's huge for the Monarchs. This is a really different game now.
Really nice focus under pressure there from French. Able to catch it with contact, also monitoring the line that is right at her feet. Really nice by her.
Let's see that again. Again, this was like the 5th block of the point or something like that. Deep shot right away. K-Spot goes up big, but not able to get a hand on it. And so French will have it, dish back, and French is going to get it back right at that front cone. That was an exciting play.
Now looks like French will be the puller on this D-line.
Certainly the same red cleats.
Yeah, French making the play and then pulling the disc the next point. We have a D-line, a little bit of a D group on this O-line for Surge. So Coach Bobby Roos probably looking to mix it up a little. The O-line has not gotten it done the past few points. So he's got a mix. So Hironet and Milligan are often on the regular main O-line, but we added Alvey, Semper, Alfano, Steinberg, and Harnage to try and see if they have different outcomes than the regular O-line.
This is a somewhat poachy look from Milwaukee, but seems fairly person to person. Surge has been struggling to get it very far downfield, mostly working it just through their handler set.
Maybe that's a product of the group not always playing together. Milligan finding her cutter roots downfield. Used to be a cutter, has graduated to the handler role.
Not that it's a linear progression.
Harnage on the sideline.
Rachel Alfano is going deep, but Harnage didn't want to go for that one.
Milligan just too far for Alfano. Alfano not necessarily monitoring the line. Injury called from Surge here, so they can each put in a substitute.
Okay, and now this is really interesting. 8-6. There's a turnover from Surge. Milwaukee's got it at about midfield. Their last break was not clean, but if they can really make this clean, punch it in, things are getting exciting late in this first half. Surge in a person-to-person look. Nice upline.
Can tell you've played basketball.
Nice upline look right off the stop disc. Blady throw from French. Allie Milligan gets in the way, and Monarchs cannot have the clean break that they were seeking there. But let's see if Surge can get themselves together on offense to punch this in.
Grace Maroon unleashing a big throw to Hironet. Another receiver, you should do it. Not always a throw that Grace Maroon is willing to do, but I absolutely love when she does. She absolutely has the throws, and she should do it way more often. Top player in the country.
Grace Maroon, if you're listening to this.
She knows. I've told her plenty of times. She's such a threat. She's a threat with her cutting, her throwing, her defense, just an all-around threat from Maroon. And then Hironet finding the frame, taking the cut there. really nice edge and putting it in the right spot. Here
And
and able to
decisive.
catch it.
What a great vertical jump, making sure that her defender was never going to get in the way of her on that.
Kept her shoulders in the way, kept her a little bit boxed out without having to do any contact. It's a really nice play there from Surge with a mixed line that they don't usually play together. Maroon and Hiranet are on it, but nice to see some other people mixing in and able to keep that momentum going.
And Maroon and Hiranet were the two that Monarchs were scoping and putting specific matchups on. They're a big threat on this team, and you see why in that last point. Okay, well, the Surge have 9, Monarchs 6, so back to that 3-point differential.
Fan will pick up to Schrader.
Got a little over a minute on the clock, so depending how this goes, could be the last.
Schrader finds Shriver.
Last point of the half. Good coverage downfield from Surge.
Shriver to Cohen. Nice grab there from Schrader under pressure from Costanza. Another catch under pressure there.
Oh, that was really great movement from the Monarchs, and just threw it a little behind number 17, Duffner.
Surge.
That's hard to see. That was an exciting motion from them. And now Surge will get it back.
Surge calling a timeout there, so Bobby Roos using his final timeout of the half with 40 seconds left. Could be a savvy move. There are 40 seconds, not this 27 that is incorrect on your clock there, but there are 40 to 45 seconds left in this half, so they will play it out. And he is going to put in an O-line, putting in an O-line on the substitution. This live broadcast is brought to you by the Premier Ultimate League. The PUL is a 501c6 nonprofit. This league has been community funded since day one, and we are so grateful for the support. We ask that you consider donating to help us continue to transform and fulfill our mission. Head to PremierUltimateLeague.com to donate today.
All right, and who have we subbed in for this probable last possession of the half, if Surge opts to kind of play slow and hold on to it?
I see.
Lindsay and Liang going give and go with each other a lot there. Maroon getting into the mix. Quiet downfield. They're really just moving it through the handler set here, almost a weave.
Bit of a dominator weave look.
They just want to play 3-on-3.
Let's count it down. 10, 9,
And Monarchs defense can't get in the way of it. You'll hear the countdown happening, but as we talked about, when the clock goes to 0, the team with possession just gets to keep possession.
Anticlimactic for the fans. I'll never get over it, but it's a very Frisbee thing
During
to do.
halftime, if you missed it, you can go back to our hot take session and hear how we feel about it. Surge able to punch it in. I liked that look, the 3-on-3 to play down the clock. I haven't seen other teams do that in this league, but I think that really works well when you're just trying to make sure you get the last possession of the half. You could see that other players got involved once the clock went to 0, but before that it was just McKenna, Maroon, and Liang just playing catch.
Yeah, definitely a nice strategy shift. You have to kind of, as the rules change, which they have at least one or two or more have changed every single year in the PUL. They have not stayed the same, which is a little bit tough for players and sometimes admins, but I am on the board, so I won't try and bash that too much. But though the rules have changed every year, it is a new league, so we are trying to figure out the best way to do things. But that also allows coaches to change every year, figure out their strategy, figure out what works, and have to come up with a couple things on the fly.
So 10-6 to end that first half. There were some moments there we thought maybe it was going to be 8-7 or something close to that, but Surge really able to get the job done in some tense moments. And we're at halftime now here in Philadelphia.
60% of their diet is peanut butter.
We will be back with the third quarter right after this.
When they try to peel it apart. But they, I'm sorry, no. Javelin in high school. No broken bone, but overturned stitches. And they ride a motorcycle. Fans, do we know it is? No one? Alright, it's the best guess. It is. Well done. Alright, my two winners, come on over here. We're going to pick on something. Let's give it up for our two contestants, our two winning contestants today. And our third from our visitor.
feel like you are. Welcome back. The third quarter is about to start. Looks like the Surge will be on O. They're already on the line. Monarchs not quite out on the line yet, but we will see them pulling to the Surge O line. The score is 10-6 at the start of the third.
And we'll see what can happen in this second half. Still anyone's game. We saw Monarchs close the gap at different points. At one point it seemed like they would maybe get it within possibly 2, possibly 1, but haven't quite been able to do that. So for Surge, what they have to do is just kind of hold what they've been doing so far, keep it up, not lose control of the game, but third quarter is important, so we'll see how it goes.
The PUL cannot function without sponsors, so Fish One Dental, S1 Medical, My Best Birthday are all game day sponsors. Really important for teams to have sponsors in this league so that we can pay our players and fully fund all of the cost for all of the teams.
Sarah Liang gets the pull in the middle of the field, finds McKenna to Maroon. A really nice low grab. Back to Liang. Milligan now. Wagner. McKenna with a nice hop. To Maroon, back to McKenna, back to Maroon. Back to McKenna. .46 Graham Cunningham now with the disc. Maroon, back to McKenna, back to Maroon, back to McKenna. And Cunningham will get it for the score. A lot of passes.
That's really good spacing there by Philadelphia Surge. They had their handler set, and then the cutters were pushed back to the back of the end zone. That leaves a lot of space in the front of the end zone for Cunningham to find that spot. Cunningham coming over from a couple years with DC Shadow, also plays in DC for Scandal. So a really big pickup for her. She moved to Philly this season, and we are thrilled to have her. She has great experience, also a U24 player, handler for them, won a gold medal this past year. She's a really nice addition to the Surge team this year.
Definitely got some Team USA chops out on the field tonight.
Schrader, Pruka has played some USA. Pruka's very good. Had a quiet game so far today, but I feel like I've seen Pruka for years, has been a top player, at least at Nationals Club in her division, but hasn't had the most impactful game. Is playing on the D-line, maybe not getting a ton of chances. Schrader.
Deep pull from Moeller. Monarchs have to be kind of careful in the way they field that. Kern with the disc, middle of the field. Oh, big layout attempt from 13 Duty, but not able to reel it in. Not the offensive start that Monarchs was hoping for this half, I imagine.
Faye Epstein with the block.
Surge able to find the break side there, stayed very patient under pressure. That's 2 end zones back to back that they've been able to keep the patience. The Monarchs are tight. They are being physical. They have good defensive presence. They're not necessarily standing in their way, but they are very close to these that could be distracting. But Surge has had good poise in both of the last 2 end zone sets, one from the O-line, one from the D-line. A little bit past the receiver there, but Epstein, I believe, touched it.
Yeah, a little hard to tell for me. But these break throws by Surge are just really nice.
Nice patience there from Steinberg. Semper going back to the same break side.
really strong start for Surge. You know, all they had to do was kind of score their offensive points, and they got a clean O hold and then a clean break. Not much more you can ask for from Surge there. Fan with the disc, centers to Schrader. They look downfield, but a run through D.
Abby Thompson there, a really nice block, able to read the play. Great break there from Albie, getting a lot of yards to Thompson. It's really nice there. So Abby Thompson runs through the disc, gets the D, takes off deep, and then comes under first with tons of space on the break side. You see that a lot. You don't always see the player fully come back after the deep run, and then Albie able to get a lot of yards on the side.
Schrader really looking for that block there, but Zoe Costanza, a great catch. That's at least her second tonight.
Another look at the block here. Takes off with no one near her. Probably could have, someone ran to the disc, probably could have put that deep. She realized that we didn't have the disc yet. Comes back under. Really nice play there.
And let's look at this score from Moeller to Costanza. Love the spike. If you're asking about my spike takes, I'm incredibly pro.
I would love your spike takes because that doesn't exactly fit with your personality. So what is it about spikes? Do you even spike it?
I love.
Or do you just like when other people spike?
No, I love to spike. I think it's annoying when the disc gets messed up. I think that you should be careful.
So don't edge spike it.
Yeah, which Zoe did not. Flat side spike. I love that. Celebrate your score. You
a
gotta
Donovan
celebrate.
Award winner or Donovan nominee. I believe she won it, but
She won.
She won it. Donovan Award winner would know better than to edge spike it.
Absolutely.
Junk look again from Surge here.
Schrader's the middle handler here, kind of calling the shots. Kern gets it. Swing it all the way to the far sideline. And back to Schrader in the middle. Milwaukee's got some folks with shades on the field.
At least 3 players wearing sunglasses, 3 or 4.
Another floaty deep look, but that was great body positioning. Seems like there might be a foul call.
Gwen Rao calling that foul there. I would love another look at it. Seems like it was tightly contested. She elevated over her, kind of had a good read.
Looks like they're going to the observer.
Observer rules not a foul. Here it is, the other look at it.
I thought it was great way to hold the space.
So Cohen does extend her left arm into the body of Rao. I don't know if it prevented her from jumping. It's one of those that's really tough. She did make contact. She did hit her. Did she hold her down? Is that enough contact? That's really close.
In those close calls, it's nice to have observers here. Every PUL game has them.
You could show that clip 10 more times, and I think it would be split who thought it was a foul and who wasn't. It is technically making contact. I am pushing into you. I am maybe holding you back from making a play as I go to take my jump. It's really, really tough one.
Luckily, the players don't have to fight about it. The observer just makes the call. And that'll be a Monarch goal. Their first of the second half. Surge has scored 3 to Monarchs 1 so far. So they'll definitely be happy to have that one on the scoreboard. And now Surge will play an offensive point. Got the regular showing of the O-line here. Sarah Liang. Now over to Graham Cunningham, Poppy Wagner. Really creative throw there from Graham, and another creative throw to come after it.
There's a D from Pruka. So a little bit of a quiet first half, but able to make a really nice play on that one.
Yeah, that was a great play. As you've been saying, I think Monarchs are often in the frame, but we haven't seen some of those explosive blocks so far. So it's exciting to see one of those from Monarchs. And let's see what they can do with this break chance. Got to work at the full 70 yards. So now number 12, French, has it on the sideline. Able to get it up right in front of her. To Fan. Excuse me. That's number 20, Lang. Pruka able to get it off.
Really tight field here. If you see it, that is every player on the field right now is in our frame. Now they're stretching out a little bit, but that was just maybe 10 yards, 10 to 15 yards of all the players in the same spot. No stack, everyone running at the same time. Now that Monarchs able to set a stack, show some space,
wow,
they get a goal.
That's a great huck from Reading, connecting with number 13, Duty, for the score. And that's a break.
Duty between McKenna and Maroon. Really tough players to get.
Not what I would choose to go up against in the end zone, I'll say that.
They did a good job trying to having either side of Duty continue, but a really nice way to elevate and go get it. McKenna able to takes the shot here. Pruka, nice jump and just at the right tip at the right time.
Yeah, that's a great play. And now let's see the huck.
I think once they started to spread out, that allowed a lot more space for all of this. When they're not just in that tight 15 yards, no one was stretching the field. When you stretch the field, good things happen. .705 remaining in the third quarter.
So Monarchs not the start they wanted to the second half, but now they got their second break of the game. So let's see what they'll be throwing out on defense here. Liang getting it and connecting with Maroon, who connects with McKenna, and just able to run that into the end zone.
Whatever that celebration is, she's kind of a farm, works with animals. Maybe that was something animal related. I don't know if we want to touch that.
Glad they're getting creative with their celebrations.
Safe.
It was a fun read that she was able to see where she was and just decide to run that one in rather than catching it before she ran into the end zone. So Dre doesn't like the celebration, so we'll move on. Well, Monarchs not able to disrupt Surge offense on that one. Surge kind of decisively setting the tone.
I believe that was a bit of a shorter pull, so allowed them to have possession, like picking it up at the 40, maybe not the full field to go. That's huge in this game. I mean, you save them 20 yards of working the disc.
Yeah. Roller pull look from Moeller.
Believe an offsides call. Oh, but we're going to play on.
A little bit of confusion on the field, but Surge getting into their defense now. Getting the disc to Schrader, who sends it back to the middle of the field. to Kern. We've got a block there, I think from Nina.
Nina Kashup with the block.
Yes, Nina Kashup with the block there. Coach Bobby Roos letting the D-line play through it here, not calling the timeout for the O-line, able to connect.
Zoe to Faye Epstein for the score.
Rookie to rookie connection, always nice to see.
Yeah, very exciting. And Surge with a break back. So whatever kind of momentum Monarchs were getting from that second half break, Surge is kind of asserting, hey, we can do that too. Surge definitely looking comfortable out there this second half, I would say. Here's that score again. Great, strong upline cut. Faye. Excitement on the score, as there should be.
See coaches on the field, David Bear right there. You saw Nick Perifico just to the right of your screen. Surge added some new coaches. I believe Monarchs also added coaches. We also have some Monarchs dancing to this song in the crowd right now. I don't know if the camera can find that, but they seem to know a dance to the song that our DJ is playing.
Good to see that the vibes are light, are happy on the field from both teams, while Monarchs are getting it on offense, trying to get a clean hold here. We've got Kern and Schrader working it in the backfield. Fan back on this O-line. Cohen down to Shriver. Shriver sends it back to Cohen. We've got some cutters in the backfield now. Get it to Kern. We find Schrader. Fun inside look to streaking Duffner, who gets it off for the score. That's number 13 again, Duty. Scored a couple times in the second half. And that was a nice clean hold. Definitely more like what Monarchs are looking for. I thought that was nice movement. So 15.
Founded in 2020, Discover Diversity creates spaces where Black players can show up fully, play freely, and experience a genuine sense of belonging, especially within Ultimate Frisbee. Through intentional events and playing opportunities, we center community, leadership, and joy while celebrating the talent and resilience of Black players. Our goal is to expand access, champion collaboration, and inspire the next generation of athletes.
To 9 now. We've got 4 minutes, 40 seconds on the clock in this third quarter. And another O point for Surge. Graham Cunningham.
That is one of those that you need to catch. Those drive me a little crazy. Cunningham should be catching that.
Gray is a big proponent of catching the pole, and it does really change the offensive flow. It allows you to get into it a lot more quickly, keep the defense on their toes as they're still running that down. We've got Maroon now in the middle of the field near the end zone. She puts up a nice look.
Bit of an and one there for Wagner.
The UPenn connection there. Their college teammates for Penn Venus.
Both potentially captains?
That sounds right to me.
I feel like they can be Yeah, that college chemistry. We have a lot of players on here that have some of that chemistry. Cunningham and Thompson played at Ohio State. Costanza and Colin played at Haverford. Linda and Carolyn Normile have played at Pitt. Linda Morse and Carolyn Normile are both at a wedding tonight, not here, but
Milligan and Rao, Penn State. Maybe someone else Penn State that I'm forgetting.
Yeah, that's a nice grab there from Wagner under pressure. Got bumped on the end. Able to maintain the catch through that.
Well, it was a cloudy day, but it's a nice sunset here in Philly. From the booth up here, we can see the Phillies game just around the corner. Stands are full. We've got a nice game going on right here. Monarchs with an offensive point, looking to close this gap.
You gotta beat Becker there. He's running, so if you want to do it, you gotta really race for it.
Surge is in a bit of a poachy look. Creative throw from Kern there. Gets it off. Getting it back to Fan, one of their favorite handlers. And you see why, big downfield connection there. Fan up to Kern. Pretty deep shot. And a great grab from Schrader there. They had to go out and reach for it at that last moment. A Surge defender was closing in, but...
Schrader making an and one right back. A little bit of bump there. Players able to high five through it afterwards. Certainly, I'm not the most patient in those situations, but nothing super dangerous there. Just a little bit of contact, a little bit of a made the play anyway. Schrader just able to find a whole open half of the field here and take off. Stays a little bit deep. This is part of where we said stretch the field. Perfect time to do so. Able to beat Costanza, make a nice grab under pressure.
And the heel click. What more can you ask for? Monarchs have been playing strong in some of these offensive points, but Surge has just been able to kind of punch in a couple of key breaks so that the gap is pretty hard to climb back from at this point. Monarchs maybe will opt to try some new things on defense.
Especially in a timed game.
Right.
The clock matters so much. You are working against the clock. You're not just in a regular ultimate game to 15 where you have a cap to deal with, but this is sort of each quarter matters. It's much harder to come back when there's a crucial time limit.
That pole just barely out of bounds, it seemed. So Sarah Liang will walk it to the middle of the field to get the Surge offense started. You could see there Milwaukee just so clearly in their zone set. Basically their entire team just sitting in the frame of your screen right now. And Surge has to work it. Milligan to Cunningham. Cunningham back to Milligan. Really all the Monarch players in a tiny amount of the field right now. Maroon trapped on the sideline. Amazing break around. Really nice. We'll get it all the way over to K-Spa. Cunningham now in the middle. Seems like Milwaukee is coming out of their zone now, back into person. Swipe at the disc, but can't get the block. Milligan will hit a wide open Sarah Hiernett in the middle of the field. Lindsay to K-Spot, K-Spot to Sarah.
Sarah able to continue that cut from a little bit shallow, from being the one who passed it. Took off immediately up the line. Pruka was in pursuit of her. And able to just keep that momentum, keep that yard running down the same side of the field. That's one of those follow your throw, follow your pass. Hiernett here, able to throw it, does not stop running. Goes past here, same cut, able to move it and get the disc.
She's really good at that. Yeah, that was a fun one to watch. Monarchs, again, not making it easy for Surge. Surge having to throw a lot of throws, but just really able to execute. Really able to hit open hands, including in tight spaces. So Surge doing what they need to do to keep this game pretty decisively in their hands. D-line here, discussing some options, perhaps. Chelsea Semper will put it up.
Centering to Schrader. Schrader finding Duffner. Duffner to... That number is not on my roster. Either my fault or a clerical error, but 43 we do not have a name for. Thought I copied everyone from this sheet, but...
Should be Emily Zhu.
So we have about a little over a minute left in this quarter. So this is a weird spot. You're so close to the end zone. You would love to have the last possession, but it's hard to keep it out for a minute in this space. So nice goal there by Monarchs. Surge will get the disc back with a lot of time to score at end of quarter again. Finding a lot of success at the front cone.
Yeah, Monarchs worked it well there.
Just like at the end of the previous quarters, the action doesn't
43,
stop
Emily
with
Zhu is one of only 2
After
rookies that Monarchs brought on this roster this trip to the East Coast. So pretty well practiced team. They played together, most of them, for several seasons, including some of them for 6 seasons. I think that's all we've got.
Teams definitely have a challenge when they have to pick out their roster for 2 games back to back. There is a money constraint because you have to buy flights, you have to rent hotel rooms, there's a lot of money to factor in to spending that, but you also want to make sure you have enough subs, you have enough legs, you can run for 2 games back to back. So it is always tough finding like how many people you're going to bring with you, who's going to get that look. It's a nice sort of strategy part of this. It's not always the same people every time. It's not always the same number. The minimum is 14 that you can have for a game, and then the maximum, I believe, is 27.
Pull from Monarchs, fielded by Cunningham, up to Sarah Liang. K-Spa with the cut from the front of the stack. A little bit of a pull play to Lindsay streaking deep. K-Spa thought about it, but then did decide to put it, and Lindsay able to track that in.
Didn't want it in the first look, kept looking at it, and then puts the right amount of edge to find Lindsay able to make a play. It's good that Lindsay still stayed there and was like, maybe we should throw it the second attempt.
Yeah, let's see that again. The edge on this was the reason that it worked out in the end. You can't see off screen, but Lindsay's streaking deep.
Around 2 defenders in her way, but still able to come down with it. K-Spa often has edge on her throws, that uncharacteristic sort of laser in the beginning.
Right.
Usually one of the players that puts edge on almost every throw, and with much necessity.
I think third quarter has definitely been cleaner than the second. At the beginning, maybe there were some longer points, but I think that second quarter had a lot of turnovers, and we're seeing something a little more clean from both teams here. Let's see if Monarchs can keep that up with Schrader getting it in the middle of the field.
So that last look from Surge, they don't try and run out the clock with 40 seconds left. They take a quick score, giving Monarchs the chance here to have an end of quarter possession and play out the clock for, as when it gets to 0, can play it out until a turnover.
Big upline run from Fan, but just can't track that in. It is hard to know exactly how to play with the clock.
7, 6, 5, 4.
Again, you'll hear the countdown, but it's going to be possession game.
That's it. It's the Surge's disc. They will either score or turn it over.
Nina to lane Dodge. Dodge getting it back. Big grab from Nina in the middle of the field. Downfield connection to Moeller. Exciting. And Zoe Costanza once again.
I believe that's her hat trick goal. That's really nice catches there. Lane Dodge was under pressure. Emily Moeller was under pressure. Nina Aship had a run-through attempt. Monarchs putting the pressure on, but Surge able to kind of read this in traffic.
And at halftime it was 10-6. Surge able to score 9 in that quarter. That's not too shabby.
Raffle off. Let's see what I have in my raffle bag. Oh, we got a very nice this season Surge jacket.
Thanks for sticking around with us this Saturday night. One more quarter of Ultimate left to play. You know, at the beginning of the broadcast, we were talking about Milwaukee is here for their East Coast doubleheader. And it's less intense than perhaps a club tournament weekend where you play 6 games, but these games are long, and they're really working out there.
Is it? Is it really? Congratulations! Good job.
Adam Kraft and PATA are 2 supporting sponsors of the Surge this season. Adam Kraft working for Cost Country Mortgage. If you are buying a home in the Philadelphia area, he can be your help for mortgage loans.
Gonna take a quick break, and we'll come back to you with the 4th and final quarter.
Who's gonna do it better? My fans right here, the fans in the stands. Who's got it? Let's see it.
The Discraft Ultrastar is the official disc of the Premier Ultimate League. Discraft, the world leader in disc sports.
You're not doing it. There you go. We got people there. We go.
Crowd doing the Macarena in the stands. Live big group here tonight.
Let's see.
Surge will be pulling to the Monarchs O-line. We have French and Kruka and Schrader. No Fan on this O-line, but mixing up a bit of their O-line here in the 4th.
Semper with the pull. And we're underway in our last quarter of this Surge Monarch matchup. Trader once again getting the disc in the middle of the field. Able to find number 91 Redding. Was able to find Kern. Gets it off quickly. It was in her hands just for a second. Kern and Schrader back to work. And a big look from Schrader. Wow. That's quite the defensive play from number 36, Abby Thompson.
It's a very nice throw from Schrader. It looked like a good look, but Thompson able to get in position, read it the whole way, jump at the last second. Has has to make up a couple steps there, and it just floated like right to her enough to get a hand on it.
Yeah, that was an incredible play.
Well-timed jump, well-timed closing speed on that.
Surge will have to work it the full 70. Little give and go. Backfield. We've got Alvi, Semper.
2 timeouts apiece left in the fourth quarter. We'll see if Roos wants to let the D-line work this out or if he'll sub in the O-line. Maybe with a score at this deficit, you let your D-line play, make them get a few reps.
Seems like they're working it well so far. Nice catch under pressure from Rao. Big layout from Alvi.
Timeout called by Philadelphia.
But there's the timeout Dre was thinking about.
Yeah, it's always tough. It's like it's a large margin. You want your D-line to be able to score. There's times when they're going to have to. But you also want your O-line, who hasn't played a ton this game. I mean, they've played a couple points, but their D-line has been on a lot more. There are going to be games where you want your O-line to absolutely convert. If you put them in this position earlier in the season, that can help you in a bigger game, a gridlock game, a playoff game, where the score is maybe closer. Having them convert could be really helpful. So giving them these reps is also useful. It's a tough thing to weigh.
Yeah.
As players, I know they're always like, let us try it. I want to do it. Let me finish. And it's between the O and the D. They always kind of go back and forth. They always want to finish it. But that's why the coach is the coach.
Turn it out. To the left.
This live broadcast is brought to you by the Premier Ultimate League. PUL is a 501c6 nonprofit. This league has been community funded since day one, and we are so grateful for the support. We ask that you consider donating to help us continue to transform and fulfill our mission. Head to premierultimateleague.com to donate today.
O-line is subbed on, and Liang gets it off. A little bit of an offense-to-offense collision there between McKenna. Oh, who then looks downfield to find Wagner, but Monarchs right there on Wagner's shoulder, and I can't quite see the number, but that was an amazing play.
Kern with the block for Milwaukee.
Kern.
She can be their center handler and make the big deep look block. What more could you ask for?
That's one of those where you put your offense in, you want them to convert. Now, Lindsay McKenna is going to be Lindsay McKenna. She's going to take some shots. You don't want to necessarily stifle her, but at the same time, that's a chance where he probably wants you to convert there. You want to practice your O-line on a substitution. She immediately uncorks one, 2 traffic. It's just it's like hard. It makes that timeout feel a little bit less strategic.
And Monarch offense looked really smooth there to work it all the way down the field. They have some uplines where they've been gaining a lot of yards, and we're able to do that again. Now, knocking on the doorstep, we've got Schrader, who will find a wide open receiver. Seems like
The hood's covering her number.
maybe number.
That's why you shouldn't wear hoods or gray shirts under your jerseys. They tell you not to. It looks like 99. Demmer.
Totally uncovered on the open side of the end zone. Really nice find from Schrader, where Monarchs were just being patient here.
Fans are very own Raha Mozafari, or Dr. M, as she's referred to by her clients, has been a practicing dentist since 2013.
So that will be ultimately a hold for the Monarchs. Got a little confusing because Surge subbed in their O-line on the timeout. But that was a hold for them. 19 to 12 now. And Monarchs will be coming in on defense.
Getting a look at another mixed O-line for Surge here. You crossed over Chelsea Semper, Liv Steinberg, and Anna Harnage. And then your usual characters of Sarah Liang, Graham Cunningham, Taylor Conroy, and K-Spa. So a little bit of a hybrid here, not just an O or a D, it's a mix of both.
Love to see the sidelines getting involved in that. Catching the ball. Wow. Almost a turnover, but Graham Cunningham with a full extension.
Taylor Conroy.
The full extension layout to save possession. Big stride. And the crossover line works.
It's nice to mix it up every once in a while because, you know, if you have an injury and the same people have been playing together or an absence or something, it's nice to get some crossover and know that your strategy could work no matter who's on the field. Sizable lead now for Surge with 7:57 left in the fourth quarter. Dr. Raha Mozaffari, our very own dentist in the Philly area, has been practicing since 2013. She purchased her own practice and has been serving the Philly Ultimate Community's teeth and smiles for years. Raha and her team are accepting new clients at their Fishtown location. Find out more at fishtowndentistry.com. S1 Medical is a Philadelphia-based medical management company created to help employees when their employees are injured on the job. Schrader with the disc here.
Surge opting for the roller pull out of bounds to trap them on the sideline again there. The trap able to work. They get the turnover they were looking for. Faye Epstein with a big deep look. Connecting.
Nina Kashyap for the goal there. Really nice edge. Similar to the K-spot edge to Lindsay. Another really nice edge throw. There are defenders in the area, but when you throw it with a little bit of outside in and find that edge, it's really nice for the receiver to be able to read it from a higher point and grab it.
And these are the types of breaks that Surge has been getting where, you know, the turnover comes really early from the Monarchs and then Surge punch it in so quickly. And when they're just getting consistent breaks like that throughout the game, they add up and we end up with the score where we are now. Surge up by 9 with a little over 7 minutes on the clock. This is hard to come back from if you're the Monarchs.
This is theirs where you just want to get the reps. You want to play one goal at a time. You want to just make sure that you're still taking everything you can from this game. But yeah, it is hard when you have such a deficit.
To what extent do you think coaching comes in, thinking about their game tomorrow, resting legs?
I was thinking about that. I saw Schrader still on the field, Pruka still playing. You know, I think you could check in with them and see how they are. I don't know that they need a load management situation. But, you know, you'd also don't want someone to get hurt for tomorrow. So it is a tough call, but I think if you check in with your players and you want to change it up a little bit, I know as a player, I'm usually like, well, I want to stay and play. I still want to get the throws, the touches. Like you get 6 games in this league. So every game matters. You don't get a lot of them. You don't get a lot of away games. All of it is really helpful to get the experience.
They're doing what they need to do right now, able to work it down the field and able to connect there. That's a really nice, we've been talking about these edgy throws. Once again, a nice shape to that where there wasn't much the defender could do. And 17 Duffner able to reel that in.
With the conditions the way they are, the disc is pretty much flying with whatever you put on it. And so putting the right edge, the wind isn't going to turn it over from how it's released. dodge almost, maybe even tip that. Maybe he was just under tipping that, but a nice focused catch there from Duffner.
And if they're going to close this gap, that's what they need. They need quick scores. Now we'll see a defensive point. They're going to need a quick block.
Looks like a lot of the same D-line here for Monarchs, not seemingly choosing to rest anyone. Similar for the Surge O-line, playing the same group.
And tell us how much point diff kind of comes in to your considerations and where that kind of plays into the playoffs.
It is a tiebreaker in the league, so if you have the same record, they will. I can't remember if it's the second or third tiebreaker. It is somewhere in the top couple tiebreakers to look at your point diff and how they're used to do strength of schedule as well. I don't know if that's as much of a factor anymore, but yes, point diff does matter, and you do want to kind of get these. So if Gridlock tomorrow wins by X goals and we only won by X goals, that could matter. If Monarchs is able to be much closer to Gridlock, and then, it'll just all play into it. So it is a factor. It usually doesn't come into play unless there's a couple things that have to happen before it, but you definitely consider it. You don't necessarily plan exclusively by it, but something to think about.
That was a nice point from Surge. Monarchs came out in their zone look where they're really clustered around the middle of the field. Surge had to work it around a lot, took their time, and once it opened up, they were off to the races.
Really?
Allie Milligan happy about that one.
Really nice way to switch the field there. I believe it was Cunningham that had the big break across with her inside flick, and then Milligan able to continue the path of the disc to a cutting here net. Stuck a little bit on the side here, but just able to open up some throws. And I think, Graham here, all the way on the right side of your field, fully goes to Maroon. Oh, it's Maroon, excuse me. Maroon that switches the field to Milligan. And Milligan just in the same motion as her catch, finding Hiernette, who's cutting on time right to that cone. Really nice way to switch the field and finish the play.
So a decisive hold from Surge. I'm not sure the Monarch zone has generated a ton of turns for them. I think it has slowed Surge down to some extent. But I think the blocks Monarchs have gotten have come in person-to-person matchups. And Surge coming in with their own zone here. Same one we've been seeing. Kind of a mark flanked by two defenders behind them.
This is one that if you're Monarchs, you need the clock in your favor. You don't just want to be pushed back and have to make a ton of throws in the backfield. So smart by Surge to play this year, but you kind of, if you are trying to get back in this game, and maybe you want to work on your zone offense, but you need to take care of it, like take away shots, get the disc moving downfield, because they're containing you and letting you run the clock, which is not something you'd want at this point in the game.
Yeah, they're trying to be as fast as they can, but it's just hard with this junkie zone. Kern now. We've got the trio of Kern, Fan, and Schrader. They're able to get it through there, and they'll just have to punch it in as quickly as they can here on the doorstep. Fan looking for options. Back to Schrader. And again, all the way to the open side. Able to find Duffner. Again, has had several back-to-back points now. So probably not as fast as they would want to be or what they would need to come out on top of this game, but a clean hold.
Yeah, really nice way to switch the field there from Schrader back. Sort of has it all in the space. Duffner able to see the whole field, like run around this stack here, ready for the swing. Nice upline cut there. Opens up that whole space. That upline cut is so crucial. It allows you to use the break side. It allows you to use that open side of the field.
Chester County and South Jersey. Join the fun at PADA.org.
O-line for Surge. Pretty similar to what we've been seeing this whole game. It's going to be Milligan and Cunningham and Liang in the backfield. Milligan with an inside look to Maroon. Maroon to K-Spa. Getting it back to Liang. Cunningham now finding K-Spa. Some zippy throws this point. Maroon looking at her options. Surge doesn't need to play fast. But they're playing with urgency regardless. K-Spa able to reel in that score.
Ellie Milligan to Veronica Colligan's beloved for the Surge.
Definitely some smiles on the field from Surge. Their offense is flowing. They're getting what they want. I think they're feeling good to, have a pretty solid cushion to close out this game.
Pretty high scoring. 23 to 14, both of them pretty high scores. We've looked at scores across the league, and not both teams are getting to double digits every game. So I know we've kind of stopped the clock a lot throughout the game for goals both ways, but yeah, this has not been the case in every game. There's been a lot of under 2-digit games for both teams, other teams in the league.
Pull coming up from Moeller. Floating high, giving Surge tons of time to get down the field.
Caught
get
pull.
into their defense.
I'll recognize it.
But Schrader able to, get a ton of yards on that first throw. Unfortunate misconnection in the backfield. And Semper will immediately look to Epstein, who's able, to jump that in, but called out of bounds by the observer. And if not the goal, we'll get the assist to Zoe Costanza, hitting the Sneech star jump. Shout out Haverford Bryn Mawr Sneeches. You'll see Linda Morse hitting that too, well known as the coach for the Bryn Mawr Haverford Sneeches the past several years.
Liz Hart as well,
Yes,
also
of
on
course.
Surge and a Haverford College coach.
That's a tough misconnection, handler to handler here, but really impressive from Surge. We haven't seen them fast break like this a ton.
Oh, that was in. That's a miss by the observer.
I love the jump into the end zone. I thought she had it.
The observer did not see it, but definitely a jump in. $10-goal deficit here, 3 minutes remaining. Emmeline Moeller about to pull it for Surge.
Really nice pull. Schrader with it in the middle of the field. Surge in their zone. Gets it to Kern. Big blade from Kern. Not able to connect. Couldn't quite tell if there was a defensive hand on that, maybe by Heyman.
Abby Thompson with the block.
Either
for
way,
Philadelphia.
Surge will get it back. Big deep look from Surge. Couple receivers. Schrader also in the mix. It's an incomplete, but there's discussion.
Blocked by Aaron Schrader, but there's a foul call.
I thought that was a nice play. What'd you see, Dre?
I would need another look at that. There was a lot of people I couldn't tell. I believe Schrader went up first. Elevated a little bit higher than Heyman.
Always hard when there are more than two bodies in the mix.
Trying to talk it out amongst themselves first before going to the observer for a ruling.
Let's take a look.
Schrader up first, has position. Heyman bit into Schrader there, and with the disc maybe a little bit out of reach. It's close.
Yeah.
It's kind of boom boom.
I do think Heyman might have had more of a hand on it than I was able to realize on first sight.
It's a bit over Schrader. So if Heyman's calling the foul on Schrader, I don't think that's the one.
They end up going to the observer, and it's not a foul. So this will be Milwaukee disc, a minute 59. Not playing to win this game, but playing to end on a strong note, play their game, their offense.
Still an important rep for them to get. You want to see what you can do with 2 minutes left. Are you going to work it up the whole way, score at the final second? You don't want Serge to get the disc back.
Right.
So do you keep it the whole time? How do you do that? It's a really important rep for them. Even though not for the game, very good for the rest of the season.
So they'll get it to Cohen. Cohen back to Kern. Kern will get it back again to Cohen. Now Schrader's coming back into the backfield. Kern to Schrader. Number 5, Glinka. Finds a cutter. Finds Cohen. Cohen dishes to Shriver. Shriver looking. Finds Schrader. Really nice throw, nice edge. And that's just a bummer. She's going to want that one back.
That's tough. I don't know if you hear the steps of Moeller in pursuit or if you're worried about the line. You're really close to it. It is a very tight same third throw. That's tough for a receiver to make with that kind of cut. You maybe hear Moeller approaching or feel the pressure, and it's just hard to focus through that.
And now we've got about a minute on the clock.
And just like every other quarter, the game action.
Moeller will set the disc down.
Bruce calls his final timeout of the game, so they will have none for the last minute. Looks like he will be subbing on his offensive line. Another important rep. Serge is up by a lot, but it's in this game. How do you show your discipline? Are you going to take a first, second shot? Or are you going to make sure you're getting it right, hitting your throws, hitting every option? And how do you finish the game on a strong note? You don't want them getting the disc back. Again, maybe you run the clock the whole time. So it's always interesting to see, what he's going to tell them, if he's going to find the open play, or if he's like, run the clock, let's finish the game with disc in our hands. This live broadcast of the Premier Ultimate League is brought to you by Breakmark Ultimate Apparel. Go to breakmark.com to place your next custom team order or check out the PUL Athlete Collab shops.
And here we are. Last minute of the game. Allie Milligan will start with the disc on the near sideline. We'll get it off to Poppy Wagner. Whole field to go. Wagner will find her college teammate, co-captain Grace Maroon. Finds Hiernet. Back to Wagner. Milligan wants it back. We'll get it.
Great break there by Milligan. Really nice around throw by Milligan to find Maroon.
Maroon will get it to the center of the field in the hands of McKenna, who will find Maroon on the break side. To K-Spa. K-Spa will take a shot to Lindsay, who can reel it in with 20 on the clock.
Smart S-cut there. Wagner taking the space on the open side. McKenna sees that, diverts her cut from going to the open side. S-cut to the break side. K-Spot seeing the whole field, waits a beat, throws her edgy throw. Fakes
See
that. McKenna S cut here. Allows her to catch with a lot of space.
Yep, 20 seconds on the clock for the last play here. I guess it's possible they score in under 20, but I don't think we've
Used to
seen-
have to with the previous buzzer beater.
Right.
You used to have to try and put up a shot. I assume you'd still go for it here. Probably take a shot at some point, send some people to the end zone. Or you could try and just possess it the whole night if you wanted to.
Yeah, we can be up in this booth all day. Monarchs get to choose when to end this game. They can just play catch with each other as long as they want. They'll get it to Schrader. Schrader to Kern. Nina with the run through. So Monarchs will not run out the clock. It'll be Surge. It almost wasn't. I almost spoke too soon, but Surge last possession. So will it be an 11-point or a 12-point game? That'll be decided here. Twelve it is. Lane Dodge reels in the final score. 26 for Philadelphia, 14 for the Monarchs. That's it.
That's Dodge's third very contested catch this game. Made a bunch of plays. Really nice to finish the game on another. Make me have a physical catch. Make me really prove this goal. And nice grab there by her to end the game.
Let's watch it one last time. Semper gets it to Costanza. Same third, tight throw for this last assist. But Lane able to step into the end zone there for the score.
Surge bringing their season to 4-0. The Monarchs will now be 1-2 heading into their gridlock game tomorrow. Both teams play gridlock next.
Just a couple weeks apart. Yeah, it'll be exciting to see what happens in that gridlock game for the Monarchs. These doubleheaders are, taxing. It's a lot of travel. Hopefully they all get a good night's sleep tonight. I know they have to get to the field kind of midday tomorrow, so.
Yeah, it's a tough turnaround. You have to travel to either New York tonight or tomorrow morning. You have to kind of also go home, eat, sleep. There's a lot to factor in.
Well, thanks for joining us tonight and at the Philadelphia Super Site. Take a look at some of the highlights from the game. It was great being here with you. Thanks for sticking with us. Tune back in for Surge's last home game.
June 6th at 6 p.m., 6-6 at 6 against New York. Hard to forget that one.
Yeah, lots of games against New York. Have a good night, everyone. Thanks for watching.